Welcome everyone. It's a bit of easy listening compared to the deep math. It's about the matter of open systems. I'll skip the agenda. We will see. Anyhow, a very brief introduction, HB9FXQ, and I guess for this presentation, the relevant fact is that I was licensed in 2015. That's quite, most say would be, it's a greenhorn in a ham radio domain. So on the other hand side, I'm developing software for more than 10 years. So it is common that I would be directing into the SDR direction anyhow. So, ham radio in 2015 is a bit of a question like, what makes it so interesting for a software guy nowadays? What brought me personally to ham radio is there are omnipresent communication technologies. Very much of them are wireless, and many of them are proprietary. Beside that, many of them are really insecure. I've learned that. What this has to do with ham radio? I was installing an alarm system in my home, and it is based on a homematic protocol. And I was thinking about what am I doing here? Is it really worth to install wireless alarm systems? And these things one come to another, and in the end you end up with ham radio maybe. So. Beside that, of course, beside the software thing, we all share a deep interest in science in general, so especially physics, electronics, and computer science. So that's for the background of this talk. A very, very important value of our hobby, in my eyes, and still as a starter to the hobby, is the accessibility of knowledge. The information is basically available for free. It's our free choice to use it. And I'd say especially not just the availability, but especially the accessibility of the knowledge is a major criteria to get it applied. And really open interfaces as well as open hardware on the other side are really accelerating the application. I promised some practical examples. So maybe a short question beside ham radio. In 2005, there was a hardware platform released that completely changed the world in hobby electronics. And I guess many of you would know what's on the next slide. No? Okay. Not? Okay, yeah, okay. I thought it's easy. The Arduino completely changed the world of electronics, and that's a perfectly valid sample because electronics and microcontrollers were available anywhere, and but they were not accessible for giving people a really entry to the domain without really going deep into the physics parts and electronics parts. But this is like a toy, and that makes it much more accessible than any other PIC controller where you need programmers and stuff like that. And I'll skip that. So what we are doing is, my son is currently 9 years old, and we just start getting into the domain of electronics by just like doing small samples and start small, think big, but it has a major impact on education, in educational environments, especially in the hobby and professional projects as well. So this easy accessibility made it really people start using microcontrollers that would never touch a soldering iron or stuff like that. 2012, the next generation of these maker devices, the Raspberry Pi, shifted it to the next level somehow. We got a computer with a foundation in the background. They intend to promote the teaching and the basic computer science in schools and development countries. So I'm not sure if they have overmet their goal, but I guess they did. And the combination of affordable hardware, open hardware, and free and open software, this somehow, for me, would be the bridge between the computing, microcontrolling, electronics, and stuff like that. And that makes it completely valid to allow people that would never start using supercomputers to think about technology like supercomputers, but just making it available. So the Raspberry Pi, this pinout combination with a computer, makes it a perfect platform for all kinds of ham accessory projects. Yeah, let's go to some real world samples. And I've promised a critical perspective. So where are we today in ham radio? And this is really from this is really the perspective of a ham radio greenhorn. But what I observe is that digital signal processing became pretty central to these new rig generations. Software-defined radio in general, yeah, we kind of get these hybrid devices, these hybrid rigs. So manufacturing processes are minimizing technologies. And on the other side, we got even more computing power. So you could think there are much black boxes everywhere, and I guess that's true, because when the technology minimizes and gets hidden in small chips, the more importance it will get that we will really get open interfaces to it. And a perfect transceiver, let's say manufactured on a single chip that has no open interfaces would kind of lead to the problem of black boxes everywhere. So my intention is to ask about bringing the passion from this Arduino and Raspberry Pi samples to projects in ham radio and project these success factors of these platforms to ham radio, especially to attract new hams to the domain. And I guess new technology has changed the game. That's absolutely nothing new, but the intervals of new tech trends, and especially a bit hypes, are getting faster and faster and faster. And it's finding its way into our ham radio equipment. So let's say we are at the edge of a completely new generation of rigs, and we're seeing these concepts from the SDR transceivers are slowly integrating into the traditional transceivers from the traditional vendors of these radios. So compared to another fast changing technologies, let's say mobile phones. I mean, in the mobile phone thing, it changed really rapid, but we ended up with a decision to choose between these apple fruits and these robots. But yeah, there's not much space in between, and the vendors are following their agendas. So that's absolutely no situation we would see in our hobby, because the core aspect is to gain knowledge, to share knowledge, to work with technology, and so on. So a really basic thing is be sure to keep the small practical samples I've gone through. I'm not doing any advertising, but it's just the hardware I've chosen for my projects. The first is a pretty affordable device, small device, the SDRplay. Basically a bit an enhanced version of these RTL dongles. It has switchable filters and stuff like that, but still the same fashion, like you have a USB connector and on the other side a single SMA plug. Works just like the sticks. So when I bought the stick, I was thinking I'll connect it to my GNU radio on Linux and just start like using the device as a source. And I realized there's only Windows software available. But the good part was it offers an open API from the outside. So the source itself is actually closed, but it opens up by providing this API and basically giving me all function the hardware offers to use in my software. So, and now a real world sample with this SDRplay and the effects, what's happening when you're releasing software. And it's a basic point, thing I want to point out in my talk is when you write software, when you start doing things that could be of interest, don't be shy to push it to GitHub or somehow talk about it and then discuss it. So what happened here is I was releasing basically a small kind of adapter that's just utilizing the API of the SDRplay and is compatible with these RTL dongle sticks. And what happened is people immediately picked it up and used it in their project. So I received a lot of good feedback by email. People started to use it, and with that questions being asked just on this project, many new ideas were born, and the thing started to work on its own. So there's a new API around the corner, and I'm about to release a new version of that SDRplay thing. And that was just amazing to see how fast people picked up the idea of contributing to the project, and that's really a good practice. I can just encourage to support. Just go out, talk about it, release it on GitHub. Even if the quality is not that fine, it will be. If it will be useful, it will improve anyhow. So here's a sample for this SDRplay. It's working with OpenWebRx. I guess the author of OpenWebRx is in the audience as well? Not? The author of OpenWebRx. Where is it? Not here. Okay, so next one.
He will be back.
Okay, he missed it. And yeah, some signal analysis with baud line. The next thing is this huge machine we've learned about this morning from Gerald. It's my current dream transceiver. I'm using this at home. And basically they follow the same concept. They are selling a proprietary system, a closed hardware. There's no open specification available. But they state they're platform independent. That is completely valid because they offer an open API, a software developer library to access the radio. And they are pretty much focused on the Microsoft.NET platform with a public API, beside providing a fully text-based Ethernet protocol, text-based protocol. Here, basically, the story is absolutely the same, like with the SDRplay. I've ported the vendor API in the first step just to Mono, and that was quite a refactoring because they'd done much Windows native code, so they heavily relied on a specific operating system. So I've tried to remove all system relevant parts to be somehow mono-friendly, and I've ported it to Linux. Actually, just a kind of a basic working prototype so far, but I was immediately running to GitHub and publishing it in the hope that people would pick up, and I will find other pieces that already already are fighting with the same issues that I was fighting with that API. And pretty fast success was we've actually been one of the first people. I had some support on the Git repository, but actually the first one that connected this Flex radio directly to GNU Radio. The Flex radio has some interesting fact that you are limited to 192 kilohertz per IQ channel, because all the FFT and stuff is actually happening in the radio. So, but anyway, the API offers all that the software the vendor is supplying offers, and it's actually like an open system. But no one has yet started to port these things to Linux. So I'm a bit of a Linux guy, and that's why I've started to work on this software. A very motivating fact of fastly releasing this software openly and just giving it to the community for free without any intention to sell it was there was a student in Canada, and his master thesis was about implementing a Flex radio block in GNU Radio. And we have had a lot of correspondence, and in the end I got a WhatsApp message that it was an A grade for for that work, and that was really motivating to continue contributing such kind of software, especially in the ham radio domain. So, just again, it's not an advertising about any specific kind of hardware. And beside these commercial systems that are available compared to the open systems, I was asking the vendors a short question. Would you agree when I say your hardware part of your product is non-open? And I got an interesting response. You can maybe read that in the slides, but in detail. But basically the point of both was the same. So they see their hardware as a closed system, and that's perfectly valid. But ask people to use their APIs, and that's somehow protecting of a business model, and I can fully agree on it. But that's a price I'm paying when I buy a complete ready-to-go radio without experiments. That's the intention when you buy such a radio. You want just a working box. And but on the other side, the main topic should be to look for an available API. So I find in this ham radio thing, it's less critical. As, let's say, I have to repeat, I'm a ham radio greenhorn. But what I found is the vendors found a good balance, because open and free access while keeping their value closed, as much closed as it needs to be, and not much more. So to conclude a bit what I wanted to say with this talk, and I hope it was a bit easy listening, and just start to think about all these issues around open software, free hardware. Open interfaces in upcoming RIG generations will be a key aspect, because there's I see a risk, and I don't know if you would agree, that technology shrinks into chips, that we could lose a lot of control over our hardware. And on the other side, open does not have to mean it's completely free. It has to be open, and it's often interchanged like open hardware and free hardware, and free licenses compared to commercial and closed licenses. But the accessibility, I guess that's a very, very high radio a very, very high value in ham radio that we need to focus on. Yeah, we don't buy pigs in a poke because we are all some kind of critical ham operators, and but even if you don't need a radio with an open interface today, be sure you might need this interface in future. So this talk was a bit about to start a small discussion, and I'm trying to ask you to share your ideas on open software, what you think about it, maybe what I'm missing, if I was missing some points. There are two options. The first one, there's a small article about exactly this issue in the magazine from the guys from hamspirit.de. It's in German, and it will be there on their blog. And the option B is I'll publish this talk on my blog and would like to see you there on this website. So that's all. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope it was enjoyable, and I would like to discuss this open thing in the future. Thank you very much.